Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you. And today we're going to be taking a look at this knife here. This is one of the most rarest Kershaw collectible knives that has ever been in the Kershaw lineup, along with the Kershaw Bolt and the Kershaw Speedform 1 that you guys saw last week on my Kershaw Discontinued series. This is another one of those that I got my hands on. We're looking at a piece of history here. This is one of the Kershaw collectibles that actually pushed the boundaries of what is actually possible on a knife as far as action, as far as just overall looks. And every part of this knife was fairly well thought out. So let's just go over a quick rough specs on this knife that I can actually find. Keep in mind, back in 2009 when this knife had first come out, the knife was going for right around $500. It is now, you can find this knife now on eBay for roughly, at the lowest I've seen it, $700 and up. When I mean up, I'm talking as high as $1,100 for one of these babies, brand new in a box. So this is called the Kershaw Tilt, and this is the very first Kershaw knife to sport the Kershaw Velocity Technology caged bearing system. So the knife sports 75 Vanex steel on the bottom. The top part of the knife sports 420 stainless steel on the spine, which is this whole part of the knife right here. And the blade is 4 inches in length. The overall knife, from the tip of the blade to the end of the handle over here, is 9.5 inches. The knife weighs 4.8 ounces, and it's made in the USA. So let's talk about this knife for a minute. First of all, as far as overall aesthetic looks, right, it's a huge knife as far as aesthetics go. It's really big in size as far as the way your eyes see the knife. However, if you know, it has fantastic ergos. It is angled perfectly to conform to your hand, which I actually like. Secondly, the knife has got a straight Warncliffe style blade going across that way, so that you get even consistency in the push down cutting of the knife. You know, in other words, it doesn't matter whether you're putting pressure on the tip, in the middle, or towards the end. You don't have to angle your hand or move your hand anyway to continue to cut with the same force. You can just leave your hand in this straight angle and just chop down, and it will cut evenly across the blade. That is another reason why this knife really pushed the boundaries. But more importantly, the action is spectacular on this knife. Now, this is one of the mysteries to me regarding the Kershaw Tilt. They have released thousands, not thousands, but a lot of Kershaw Velocity Technology knives, right? Which is the cage bearing system that we've come to know that Kershaw puts out in all their knives now, the ones that they've decided to put them in. And yet, they don't seem to have this kind of smoothness, which I don't understand why. This thing is as smooth as any of the expensive South African customs that I own. Now, keep in mind, this knife was made in 2009. Kershaw was at a turning point in their, in the company, where they were beginning to realize that knives were becoming much more and more popular to the knife buying public. Now they were kind of getting to that point where knives were no longer seen as just a cutting tool, but they were actually now kind of, getting to the point where they're trying to make knives more popular, make them a little bit more art. Not necessarily less tool, but maybe push the boundaries of more art as far as mechanics of a knife, as far as aesthetics go on a knife. They wanted to give you a full package of what a knife can possibly be to attract you as a buyer into the company, Kershaw. And this knife was basically, I guess you want to call it, this knife became the boat that took them there. Because after the Kershaw Tilt came out, we started seeing a lot of interesting knives, which you're actually going to see as I bring out my Kershaw collection little by little. You're going to see all the knives that come after this one. There's always going to be something interesting about that knife, something weird, something unique that is on some of the knives. Those things that we see on some of the knives that I have, my discontinued knife collection, some of those things stayed and some of those things went away. And I think that's probably why I own this Kershaw discontinued collection, because I wanted to see where Kershaw used to be, where they're going now, and where they're going to be going in the future. And and the answer seems to lie in all these discontinued knives. That's why I own them, because there's a lot of things on the discontinued knives that were once the norm that have just either have gone off or maybe they've improved upon. But the Kershaw Tilt, guys, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those knives that just kind of got lost, as far as they didn't take anything from this knife and put it into any future knives that they were releasing. I think what they were saying was, when they made this knife, is, okay, here's where we are right now. This is the best knife we can possibly make with all of our capabilities. And that's why Kershaw came out with knives like the Bolt, knives like the Kershaw Speedform. They wanted to show you what they could do with the capabilities that they had. Now keep in mind, knives like the Kershaw Tilt, the Bolt, and the Kershaw Speedform, I want to bring them out again just so you guys can see them. So here's the Kershaw Speedform, right? And then the ever popular Kershaw Bolt, which you saw last week. So these three set of knives were pretty much the best that Kershaw has ever made, as far as action, as far as materials, as far as putting the entire package together in making an incredibly appealing knife. This is the best that Kershaw ever did. After the release of these three knives, and this is why this is so important in my opinion, after the release of these three knives came Zero Tolerance. And, you know, pretty much after that, Kershaw never did what we call halo projects, which is what I guess you would define these three knives on the table. Halo projects. They just never did them ever again, because Zero Tolerance came into the picture, and then they had their whole other category of high-end knives that were coming in. But I guess you could count these three knives as Kershaw's version of high-end knives, because they never had anything else like these knives afterward. So I just wanted you to get a look at the Kershaw Tilt for this video, so you could see what I was talking about as far as Kershaw kind of, I don't want to say reinventing the knife, but doing their own version of what they believe a knife can be. And the Kershaw Tilt pretty much pushed that envelope. There's a little Easter egg in this knife, which makes it kind of fun. If you look inside the knife, it actually says the word tilt in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I could try and angle my knife so you guys can see the word tilt, but there it is right inside on the bottom part there. It says tilt on it. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. But this knife, believe it or not, in my own opinion, if you're a knife collector, you got to get this one, because this knife is so much fun to flip, guys. I mean, you never get tired of it. And it's a Kershaw. It's ridiculous. It's Kershaw. Kershaw's a budget company, and you kind of wonder, well, how is it possible that they could actually come out with a knife like this? The knife is, by the way, is all titanium. It's an all titanium frame lock knife with a slab of carbon fiber, and it looks like laminate over the top. Vanex 75 steel, very, very rare steel, not seen all that much these days. I believe maybe on some custom knives you would see them. But it's pretty much a steel that's no longer around as far as normal, everyday production knives go. The knife has 4 standoffs on it, all the way in the back with an open construction, so I really, really like that. Pocket clip is just tip up and tip down on the frame lock side only. Not really good if you're a lefty. So the 2 popular giveaways on this knife is the ergonomics on the knife, right? The action on the knife. So just for those 2 reasons was the selling point of the Kershaw Tilt in 2009 when the knife came out. So I just wanted you guys to take a look at this knife and maybe possibly discuss what, maybe we could sit here and discuss what is the significance of the Kershaw Velocity technology, and how it actually affected all the other knives that came after it. Because to be honest with you guys, this knife is almost, yeah, I mean, this knife could easily be considered a custom knife, if you want to call it that. It is definitely, I mean, like I said, when the knife was running, it was worth about, they were selling it for about $500. It is now, roughly over $1,000 for this knife today, if you were to see one on eBay. The fact that it's a composite blade makes it a big deal. Really just spectacular. Like I said, it's just a collector's piece, and if you are a knife nut like me, you're going to want to get yourself one of these. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it. Probably aesthetically, it does look future. 2 things, in my opinion. Aesthetically, the knife looks futuristic looking. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like any of the regular knives that we have today. So it makes it kind of funky. I don't even know if I would even want to carry this knife in my pocket as an everyday carry. It just looks, as far as the aesthetics go, it looks really weird, even though ergonomically it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. This could be like the perfect folding chef's knife. I don't know, man. I think it's a great, I think I consider the knife to be great for what it is, for the action and the ergonomics, but as far as would I like to carry this in my pocket every day, probably not. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it's a collector's piece. Not just because it has a lot to do with the fact that it's a collector's piece. It just looks, I don't know, it just looks funky looking to me. So, yeah, so this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, just introducing you to the Kershaw Tilt and why it was so important. Like I said, the Kershaw Velocity technology is not the first caged bearing knife ever invented, but I do believe the Kershaw was the first knife company to popularize the idea of a caged bearing system to be put on all the knives. I don't believe any other company has done that, and this was the knife that actually did it. My opinion only, I could be wrong. But the Kershaw Velocity technology and the Kershaw Tilt was such an important knife as far as moving Kershaw forward into the popularity of knives and the coming of zero tolerance. So this knife is kind of like, a piece of history here. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy. Just wanted to show you my Kershaw Tilt and talk about the knife and the significance of this knife. All my own opinion, of course. Please leave your comments on what you guys think. I'm really happy to share this one with you. I'll be back for some more Kershaw knives. We're going to talk about more Kershaw knives, probably not the same way that I did this one, because not all of the Kershaw discontinued knives that I own, were as historic or as important as the Kershaw Tilt, but, we'll see what I can find in those discontinued knives and what we'll talk about in later videos on Kershaw knives, Kershaw discontinued knives. In the meantime, this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off, letting you guys know that, this is my collection. I'm proud to show it off to you. And I have nothing else to say other than, stay safe out there, guys. And if you get a chance, vote. Vote. Times are kind of tough right now, and in my own opinion, I don't think we have the right leader, but that's just my opinion. I'm not going to go any further than that. This is, after all, a knife channel where I talk about my knives. I'm not going to get into politics. So this is Omar the Knife Sharp Guy signing off, saying, hoping you'll find this beautiful piece of sharp art in your collection someday. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video in a few moments, because I'm going to come out with another Kershaw Discontinued knife and share it with you. Thanks so much, and have a good evening.